Greetings and salutations. Second Star Right, back some more Raid Shadow Legends. On screen, we have Luthiea, High Elf, Force Affinity, Archer, and yes, I already highlighted is why I am so enamored with this champion. The crit rate in dungeons by 33% for your entire team. If you know that you're able to run Luthiea as your crit rate lead, it opens up a lot of gearing possibilities, right? And I have always dabbled in the crit rate leads, but they've always been like a much lower percentage. Like Pitiless One has like 19%. Talia, I guess has like 16%. But this is a nice beefy 33%. And that is awesome. Secures your dungeon lead, and you don't have to necessarily worry so much about maximizing your crit rate when you're gearing out your other champions, the rest of your team. You know, you can still shoot for like 78% crit rate or whatever, but just with like a 55% or 45% crit rate on your gear, so that because you're going to get the extra 33% from Luthiea, and it's awesome, right? Because the only champions that really need 100% crit is if they have a skill that's dependent on it, like Vrask, right? His heal is dependent on his crit, so you'll always want him critting every time. So you don't want to skimp on his crit gear. But everyone else, you can stack crit damage, you can stack your defense or your attack or whatever stat you have, and lower that crit rate because there's an acceptable ratio of crit rate to the amount of damage you do. You don't necessarily have to be critting all the time for it to even out in the end and still do a good amount of damage and maintain your survivability, maintain whatever else it is you want to go for. Keep your accuracy up, what have you. You don't necessarily need 100% crit everywhere. So having her as your lead just makes your gearing a lot more flexible, and it's kind of cool the way it opens things up for you. I did do gear her in a bunch of different ways. So I think what I'll do first is go into before I re-geared her, because I checked, and there's a couple of videos out there, but most of them focus on crit damage. And crit damage is a good way to go on this champion. But I also did one that has perception, right? So I have perception, which is accuracy and speed. I had something in mind for the champion, and that's the reason I had the accuracy up as high as I do. It's at 250 with this build. So it's 2 pieces of accuracy, 4 pieces of perception. I do have a crit damage necklace, and you can see where you can rewind or whatever and go through all the gear I have here. But I was we'll go into total stats so we can see what's going on. 40k hit points, and a lot of that's due because I have a lot of hit point percentage pieces on here. 3500 attack, 1800 defense, 205% crit damage, 250 accuracy. And then at Masteries, I have her down to I don't have Helm Smash on this one. I have Flawless Execution, so I have the extra crit damage for this build. You can go a bunch of different ways. This is just how I did mine, and of course I wanted the extra accuracy. And again, I have a team composition in mind where she needs a lot of accuracy, so that's why I went with this version of the champion. But I will show you another build in a minute. Okay, so that one's good. Let's look at her in. Oh, hang on. Okay, so this is. Let's start that over. It doesn't really matter if I start it over because I'm not going to show you this whole dragon run because it's so boring. But as you can see, I have her as like the main damage dealer for this team composition, just to see if she could carry the team all the way to the end and be victorious. So I have a speed reser, miscreated monster for some shields. Martyr, of course, for the counterattack and debuffs, and hope to extend the shields and extend the extend Martyr's counterattack. So that's how I have this one going, and I just wanted to see what would happen at the end. But it takes like 6 minutes to get there, and this is running at 150% speed, and it still takes forever. So I'm just going to tell you what happens at the end. She does 2.2 million damage. We win. It's fun, but it took 6 minutes. So I don't think that you'd probably want Martyr as your main DPS damage dealer. Even though she's giving everyone, the extra 33% crit or whatever, it's not worth it in this particular scenario. She is a big help carrying other damage dealers, however, and I will show you that a bit later. Okay, so moving on. This is her in accuracy and perception gear in Arena. Just to give you a taste of what she can do with that build. And again, this is crit damage, only 205%. I know Mad Camper has a video out there where she's, I think, 250% crit damage, and after 200% crit damage, it's like every bit you add is very noticeable. I don't know what threshold is reached for that to happen, but it really does seem after 200% crit damage, you're doing well for yourself. Okay, and we'll just take out Gore Grab here. Again, 25,000 damage on Gore Grab with her A1. It's not bad, and that's just the crit damage build. Okay, let's finish it up, guys. Martyr, yep, take him out, and we just have Madame Saris. Last one standing. All right, what are you gonna do? Well, there you go. Okay, so how did Luthiea fare in this? 60,000. So she outdamaged Martyr, Torment, and Hope, and then I think I have a fight in here where I don't have a speed lead. Okay, so Torment's kind of cheesy, right? Whenever you see a speed lead, just put Torment in your team, and it's increases your odds of winning greatly. So what I do here is this one had an Umbral Enchantress as the lead. Infernal. Umbral Enchantress. And her shtick, of course, is she provokes you, and then she's unkillable, so you can't get rid of her. But I put in Snorting Thug instead of Torment, and he was able to steal her unkillable buff, and so I was able to get her. She killed herself by provoking my team, which is always fun. That's one way around Umbral Enchantress. Okay, and that was not a very good hit there, Luthiea. Come on, you can do better than that. Alright, so his Ruckus, his A2, Snorting Thug, is going to steal 2 buffs. So I wanted to get rid of Queen Ava first. So that's why I stole her buffs. Yeah, let's go, guys. Alright, again, you see that in Arena, Helm Smasher is usually a better choice, and I do have a build using Helm Smasher for Arena, and I'll show you that a bit later. It does give some rather impressive results. Although if I stacked less accuracy and more crit damage, I probably would have been able to get away with that too. Ugh, I hate being feared in Arena. It drives me crazy. 50% chance my ass. Ugh. Alright, come on. Stop playing with your food, guys. Let's go. Weak hits. I don't know why I had red and force attack spirit. That wasn't smart. Okay, so there we go. Her A2 took out... Okay, good. Okay, so we're good. We took out that team, and let's see... Luthiea, 80,000, out DPS to everybody. She is pretty good at what she does, to be honest. Alright, so moving right along, I'll let me show you how I have this version of Luthiea built. Okay, so she is in Savage gear, like I said, and that Savage gear is complemented. Everything else is the same, but I just swapped out the Perception for Savage, and so that changes her total stats just a little bit. We lost 5,000 hit points. We gained 300 attack, lost a little bit of defense, and then we lost, of course, some crit damage because I'm focusing more on ignoring armor instead. So I swapped the Masteries out for the Helm Smasher. Most everything is similar, not exactly the same. The accuracy tree is the same. Support tree is the same, but there's some differences here to better focus on the helm smashing, right? Shall we say? All right, so let's look at some helm smashing. Let's go with what's this? Okay, so again, this is another arena fight. Only now she is ignoring defense instead of focusing on crit damage. Although her crit damage is still pretty high, but we did lose about 30%. We'll extend our buffs. Putting the A, let's bring in the A2 so we can get some freezes. We took out Miscreated Monster. Okay, so that was relatively quick. I guess I did outpower them a lot, but Luthiea came in 113,000 damage, right? So you can see that her helm smashing fortitude can go a long way in arena. It's really cool. Another arena fight. This is one with Jerrig and Frost King, Tyrell, and Crimson Helm. So a very, very tanky team. And we'll see if we can render that particular aspect of their abilities moot. Okay, so there we go. Get some good damage against Tyrell, some good damage against Frost King. All right. I did not get a crit there. That's unfortunate. That's okay. And again, her crit rate only impacts dungeons, so I don't have her as lead here. I have Martyr as lead for defense instead. I could also have Tormund as lead. They give the exact same defensive buff. And let's see what her A1 can do. 13,006 against Tyrell is pretty good because he has some pretty beefy defense. And then it also took out Crimson Helm, and we're good. And Luthiea did 84,000. Again, totally topping the DPS meters. A lot of times when I have different team comps, Tormund is usually in the lead for whatever reason, just because of his AoEs, I guess. But Luthiea is much better suited for this role. Alright, and what have we next? Okay, so this is Dragon's Lair 20. This is Luthiea Helm Smashing. Not the most ideal setup for for a dungeon run, but she does help everyone else. Coldheart is usually the #1 in Dragon, but not when you have a Xavia in a Dracomorph. Poisoning and poison detonating made really quick work the Dragon. In fact, I set a record for myself in Dragon's 20 on this run in 1:15. Let's see here. And this is... I'm going to go through her damage. We're all buffed and debuffed. So her A1 does 79, 132, opposite affinity. So an 80,000 A1 when you're under ideal circumstances. All right, so let's go to the next one, which I believe is the A2. All right, so we'll buff up. And we'll buff up. Now we'll debuff. Add the weakens and the defense down. And then Frost King will come in and add some crit damage. And let's hit that A2 and see what we got here. I'm going to focus in on Horden. Alright, so good. That was, you didn't really see it, but that was about 60,000 hits. It's about 175,000 damage with the A2. And then, under ideal circumstances. And then this is for the A3. We'll get all our buffs and our debuffs running down. And then we will hit that A3, which is AoE, speed down. And that is 375,000 damage divided among those 5 opponents in the wave. So again, she is a really, really solid damage dealer, and not only that, but she makes everyone else better with the crit damage on her aura in dungeons. She might not be one of the best champions by herself, but the ability to make everyone else around her deal more damage, and you're able to gear them in it's not just gearing them for more damage. You can gear them for whatever suits their purpose. You can make someone have a lot more accuracy. It's all gear dependent, but you may have them more accuracy, more hit points, more defense, whatever. You can make your champions better because you're not necessarily having to focus on their crit rate so much. Like a lot of times, you'll be looking more to substats than you'll be looking at the main stat of like crit rate gloves. A lot of times with Luthiea, crit rate gloves will be a thing of the past. So you can have those gloves, you can get their main stat to be something completely different, and it can totally change the dynamic of your team composition. So Luthiea really opens that up for you. So I'm happy with this champion. So anyway, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, throw me a like, subscribe if you want to see more. All the YouTube things, comment down below. We'll talk about Luthiea, we'll talk about whatever. Join our Discord channel, what have you. Good times will be had by all. And if you have any suggestions, put them down in the comments below too. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Enjoy. and have fun. See ya.